game day in Fort Lauderdale.
The truth is that with Jordi Alba, Busquets, and if Messi enters, Facundo Faries, who is also Argentinian, a great player, I think they will win.
As Inter Miami eyes another trophy, Caplin News is live, taking sides.
Built the country. You built the middle class. You deserve what you've earned, and you've earned a hell of a lot more than you're getting paid now.
President Biden takes a rare position beside striking auto workers. And the vice president is on her way to FIU this week. These stories and more coming up on Newsbreak. Hello, South Florida. I'm Kelly Sanchez.
I'm Pamela Correa. Today is Wednesday, September 27, 2023.
Live from the Lee Caplin School of Journalism and Media in North Miami, this is Caplin News.
Game day in Miami as Inter Miami takes on the Houston Dynamo for the U.S. Open Cup final, and it's right here in Fort Lauderdale. Inter Miami has fans pumped.
But they're also worried as it's unclear whether Messi will play in the U.S. Open Cup final, but it's going to be decided later on today. Caplin's Valentina Gaspari is live from Drive Pink Stadium with more on what to expect.
Tonight will be an anticipated night for many, with the likeliness of Messi playing at the U.S. Open Cup final still to be determined. Inter Miami competing against Houston Dynamo will have their chance to win their second title for records. It's been more than a month when Inter Miami won their first title, the League's Cup, and now they're striving for one more, the U.S. Open Cup. Given Messi's conditions with his left leg after leaving the field at the Toronto game and not playing against Orlando on Sunday, the big question circling is whether the captain will play the full 90 minutes of the match or be watching the game from the benches as a substitute player. Inter Miami's head coach Gerardo Martino spoke yesterday at a news conference with Sergio Busquets, answering the question fans have been eagerly waiting for. Martino said that the decision to have Messi play against Houston Dynamo will be decided near game time, checking up on his overall status to play. Jordi Alba, however, is dealing with muscle soreness and is likely to not play tonight. We visited the Messi store in South Beach to speak with fans. A tourist who actually flew in from Buenos Aires, Argentina, describes his expectations for tonight's match.
The truth is that with Jordi Alba, Busquets, and if Messi enters, Facundo Faries, who is also Argentinian, a great player, I think they will win.
When asked about the possibility of Messi playing the final, Malvaso says there is a chance.
I don't think he's going to go in. Not at first, because he's in discomfort. But I think that if they need him, he's going to come in.
With or without Messi, all eyes on Inter Miami tonight, and fans will make their way to the stadium as the game starts promptly at 8:30 p.m. Live from Fort Lauderdale and for Caplin News, I'm Valentina Gaspari.
President Biden sends a message of solidarity to auto workers after his visit to Detroit, where he joined the picket lines, leaving us with one question this morning. Will his visit help auto workers get their fair share? Caplin's Denise Sr. with more on the president's visit from yesterday and the UAW strike.
Wall Street didn't build the country. The middle class built the country. You built the middle class.
A picket line show of solidarity called the first ever of its kind by a sitting president.
Wall Street didn't build the country. The middle class built the country. You built the middle class. You deserve what you've earned, and you've earned a hell of a lot more than you're getting paid now. Thank you very much.
President Joe Biden also working to slow dropping poll numbers as a government shutdown deadline looms in Washington. The White House is clear, however, on the scope of the president's visit.
We are not involved in negotiations. That is something for them to decide what is going to work for the parties that are involved.
At stake, the United Auto Workers' powerful backing for the 2024 presidential election. Former President Donald Trump is expected in Detroit later today to address current and former union members at 8 p.m. Workers say they are focused on getting their fair share of record auto company profits.
Coming in 2010, we, of course, didn't have any pension after bankruptcy and everything. So I would really like to see that cost of living is tremendously high right now.
The U.S. economy is estimated to lose billions of dollars before a labor agreement is reached, and those costs are expected to roll downhill to customers.
They're paying more for labor. They're paying more for for building the car, the price of the car goes up.
Reporting for Caplin News, I'm Tanissa Sr.
Plans in place this morning for Vice President Kamala Harris to visit the FIU campus in West Miami-Dade. Right now, the Vice President is in Atlanta, where she's speaking to students from 4 HBCUs. Tomorrow morning, she will speak to FIU students. All students receive an email from the White House with details about registering for tomorrow's event. It is the 5th stop of the Vice President's Freedom College Tour.
As of this morning, a debate between two political rivals is being set. California Governor Gavin Newsom has engaged in discourse in recent years regarding controversial policies passed by Ron DeSantis, such as the Parental Rights and Education Act. The moderator of the debate will be Fox News anchor Sean Hannity, who threw out the proposal to Newsom during an interview back in June, to which the California governor responded, "I've been trying to debate him for 2 years." DeSantis has also been vocal about a potential clash. The men will get their wish, as Fox announced it will occur on November 30th in Georgia.
Proposed changes to DACA have immigrants' families concerned, including those in South Florida. Caplin's Seth Leon has more on the controversy.
On July 1st, a new chapter in immigration policy was written with the signing of Senate Bill 1718 to restrict the ability of undocumented individuals to live and work in the state of Florida. This has left thousands of undocumented immigrants and their families in profound uncertainty. In the wake of Senate Bill 1718's enactment, the complex issue of immigration in Florida has reached a critical juncture and is reshaping the lives of countless individuals in the state.
It wasn't shocking, but it was like a new level of disappointment that I felt. It made me realize that I don't know if we are in the senators or anybody's hearts. It keeps confirming to me that we're taking steps backwards and not forward.
With more than 1 in 5 undocumented immigrants calling Florida home, the potential economic and familial impacts of Senate Bill 1718 are extreme. The Florida Policy Institute reveals that these individuals contribute an astounding $13 billion annually to the state's economy.
The bill was, in my opinion, unnecessary and a solution in search of a problem that ended up creating a problem. When states, immigration is one of these issues that individual states taking action and creating this patchwork of laws and different enforcement mechanisms, it doesn't help. Immigration needs to be run by the federal government.
Florida finds itself at a crucial crossroads where immigration rules, economic factors, and family matters all come together, shaping a pivotal moment in the state's history. As the implications of this new law continue to unfold, the shifting landscape of immigration policy highlights the intricate challenges faced by those who aspire to improve their lives within Florida's borders. Reporting for Caplin News, I'm Seth Leon.
For many people of short stature, getting around a large university isn't the easiest task. Some even have to transition to online classes due to mobility issues. Caplin's Laura Palfrey reports on resources available here in South Florida.
For most students, thinking about how they're getting to class requires no second thought, but for some, it actually serves as quite the challenge.
Well, Dina Moith is a student at Liberty University who transitioned to online classes due to mobility concerns.
So, in terms for me, when I went to college in person, I had a power wheelchair, so I was able to move around. That was fine, but for someone that's a little person that doesn't use a power wheelchair, I think they should, have the classes nearby, not so far away, because for little people, their legs are short, so it is tiring for them to walk.
For most people with disabilities, the Disability Resource Center is their only hope in trying to get special arrangements made for them in school. Most of the accommodations around campuses are geared toward people who are blind or deaf, but for people of short stature, these aren't the greatest. The only arrangements for people with dwarfism is additional time for test taking, elevators, and transportation services between classes, but this isn't always enough.
We want to make sure that we're educating everybody else about being inclusive, about, awareness of different types of disabilities. For example, whenever we're talking about physical barriers, we have to make sure to not assume that we are accommodating a physical barrier for only a wheelchair user, but also for individuals of low stature.
Wildina Moith isn't letting this stop her from living her life to the fullest. She's an influencer and content creator who shares her experience as a little person and is even appearing in New York Fashion Week this year. For people with dwarfism, navigating through schools can be challenging due to limited resources, but hopefully through education and awareness, more schools can adapt to a more inclusive environment. Reporting for Caplin News, I'm Laura Palfrey.
The U.S. government is in the process of reinstating regulations for the internet providers. The Federal Communications Commission would be considered internet service as essential communications. In the proposed rules, companies such as AT&T, T-Mobile, and Verizon will be banned from blocking and slowing down access online to both websites and content. On October 19th, the FCC will decide if public feedback is needed.
The Marlins, geared toward a crucial doubleheader after a tropical storm, postponed their game against the Mets in New York last night.
That's still ahead, and so is the story.
South Florida Wildlife Center is a nonprofit wildlife hospital that specializes in the rescue, rehabilitation, and release of Florida's native animals, as well as educating the public and our very extensive student and volunteer program.
How the South Florida Wildlife Center works to protect the vast biodiversity in the states. Newsbreak will be back in 2 minutes. Aid in order to continue surviving.
Severe weather can strike anytime, anywhere, but there's a simple way to stay safe. Hey, Jim Cantori here. I stay safe in dangerous weather by planning ahead. You can stay safe too with a few easy steps. Build an inexpensive kit with supplies for your family's needs. Write down important information like phone numbers and medications. Always talk with your family and remember any pets in your planning. Be ready, be safe. Start your plan today at ready.gov/plan.
I don't know why you're so sad. You've got a roof over your head.
You gotta stop with that depression stuff. That's what white people think. You all right?
It just feels like it's coming from everywhere.
Do you want to talk about it?
You can talk to me if you're feeling sad. Whenever you need to talk, I'm here, okay?
If you're buzzed and doing this, to make yourself feel okay to drive,
ZWX.
you're not okay to drive.
YGKLVW. Regular you.
South Florida wildlife is in dire need of aid in order to continue surviving. Luckily, there are first responders who provide them with assistance needed within their own habitats.
Caplin's Thomas Horcata reports from Fort Lauderdale.
South Florida is home to the most diverse wildlife in the United States, offering over thousands of species. You can find alligators, manatees, turtles, and pelicans, just to name a few. However, although we're all used to live with them day by day, they face countless threats.
Millions of animals are struggling with many challenges of today's world. With urban areas expanding, rising temperatures, and pollution, the balance of ecosystems is being turned upside down. But the combination of these threats is not only impacting the well-being of countless animals, it is also driving the urgent need for conservation efforts to protect these irreplaceable creatures.
South Florida Wildlife Center is a nonprofit wildlife hospital that specializes in the rescue, rehabilitation, and release of Florida's native animals, as well as educating the public and our very extensive student and volunteer programs.
South Florida is really lucky to have many passionate individuals and organizations working non-stop to ensure that our wildlife keeps growing and developing. Among these dedicated groups, the South Florida Wildlife Center stands out as a ray of hope for the region's wildlife as their conservation efforts keep thriving.
So last year we got a little over 8,000 animals admitted to our hospital. Our largest volume was in, I believe, 2017. Where we had over 15,000 animals admitted. So we've done some education since then to decrease the admissions every year, and we continue to keep trying to decrease that number.
Although we can find conservation centers throughout Florida, most communities are not aware of their presence and importance. These animals need our help, and these organizations can save their lives.
Let's remember, we all play an important role when preserving the different ecosystems. By supporting these heroes and making the right choices, we can also help protect the wildlife and beauty of South Florida. This is Tomas Horcata, signing off.
There will be a doubleheader today for the Marlins. They'll play 2 games against the Mets after crews determined last night that the field in New York was too damaged by Tropical Storm Ophelia and it's not suitable to play on. Still, good news for the Fish in the final race for the playoff spot. The Cubs lost at Atlanta to the Braves last night, putting Miami just a half game back of Chicago for the last wild card spot. A 2-run single in the 8th made the final score Atlanta 7, Chicago 6.
That's all the time we have for Newsbreak. I'm Kelly Sanchez.
I'm Pamela Correa. Get more news anytime at caplinnews.fiu.edu.